in the past year, according to the CDC. This abuse can take on many forms, including physical, emotional, and sexual, as well as neglect. And a heads up to any caregivers out there, some of the topics we're about to discuss may not be suitable for young children. Joining me now is Sherry Botwin. She is a childhood sexual abuse survivor and a trauma specialist. She's also the author of the new book, Stolen Childhoods, Thriving After Abuse. Sherry, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I truly believe there's power in sharing our own stories. So thank you for being generous with yours. Talk to us about your journey and what inspired you to write this book.
So I came from a very abusive family as a child. I survived over 20 years of childhood sexual abuse. And what I did during my childhood is I said to myself, you can't get out now, but someday you're going to get out in the world and you're going to tell your story. And that was what really helped me to keep fighting, to surviving. And then as soon as I got my master's in social work, I got myself into intense therapy. I went to therapy 3 or 4 days a week for 10 years. And I'm also a therapist. So the longer I've been in recovery and working with other people, the more I wanted to get the word out and say, there's so much hope that comes from recovery and healing after abuse.
And it's powerful to hear you say that. You talk about thriving in recovery, thriving through recovery. What does that look like? And what's your message to maybe someone who's listening out there and who says, that's me, I need to do something?
I think something that happens for people who survived abuse, they feel like they can't ask for help. I should be able to handle this on my own. I don't need any help. The way to thrive is to really begin to face our trauma, to let ourselves know what happened, to be able to understand the impact, and to say, you know what, there's so many things that I want in my life. And in order to thrive, what do I need to do to be able to thrive and have what I want? And that's about making all of our dreams and accomplishments really come to life.
And we're talking about childhood abuse, but the reality is, right, that's like the soil of life. And adulthood is us blooming, and often the consequences of that bleed into adulthood, and people might carry guilt or shame. How do you recommend they move past that, through that?
I think carrying guilt and shame is just something that we have to accept, that we're going to have to spend the rest of our lives really working through that, to be able to look in the mirror and say to ourselves, it wasn't my fault. I am worthy. I am lovable. I didn't do anything wrong, to really remind ourselves, if we need to multiple times a day, I'm a good person and I lost my childhood, but I want my adulthood, and why shouldn't I have that?
What are actionable steps people can take in their journey toward recovery?
So you can go to therapy, for sure, but you can also do things like make a vision board and put on that board the things that you want. I want a parent, I want a partner, I want to be successful in my job. Write those things down. Say to yourself every single day, this is something that I can do. I am worth this, and I am going to keep fighting.
And, you know, I mentioned some stats at the beginning. The reality is many of us will pass people in our lives or have people in our lives who have experienced child abuse. How best, based on your experience, both going through it and now supporting people in it, how best can we support?
What you're doing right now. You're sitting here and you're listening, you're asking me questions, providing your loved ones a witness, saying, I'm here for you. I may not understand some of what you've been through, but I love you, I believe in you, and I'm here. That's really what loved ones can do. They can stand by us and stay in a place of acceptance and knowing that all is going to be okay.
Really powerful message. Well, Sherry Botwin, it's an honor to receive and witness your story. Thank you for sharing it with our audience. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And don't go anywhere. We got a lot more news ahead.